welcome to Trail Therapy with Reimagine Life. I'm your host, Elizabeth Arnold, and this is the first of many on the trail. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So, if you've seen any of my other videos, they are very much produced, edited. I had a great editor for a while, and at the end of last year, in the fall of last year, I experienced some health issues and financial issues all mixed together, and I did not make any videos because I didn't have the bandwidth. And so God really had me take some time to reflect and figure out what I wanted to do with this channel, what I wanted to do with my practice. And I've made some pivots, and this is one of the many pivots that I've made. And going forward, the way I thought I would be able to sustain making videos was to just film it. So it's going to be low budget, low editing, but packed with value, I hope, for you. My intention is to take your questions, your comments, and respond to those. Take the things that I'm seeing in the session with clients. And yeah, so if you have something that you would like me to cover, a topic you want to see, a question you would love to have answered, drop that in the comments below. And if this isn't for you, no worries. For those of us that do want to become the healthiest version of ourselves that God has created, I would love for you to stick around, and we're going to be going places. So there was a video, I'm going to link it up at the top right there, that I did last year, and it was talking about people pleasing. And one of the things that we do when we people please is we find it very challenging to say no. And so one of my viewers asked for a video on how to say no. And so this is, I figured, would be a great way to start this series with the new format. And so thinking about the dynamics that go on in women, especially that have either grown up in situations or have married into situations or go to churches where the environment at church or work are situations where the spoken or unspoken rule is that you say yes to everything, and if you don't, there are consequences to pay. And that leads to really unhealthy understanding of relationships, understanding of human beings, and understanding of how God has created us as people. And so I feel like the first step in handling this issue is to acknowledge that we are limited beings. Yes, we have been created in God's image. And with that comes a lot of abilities that God has gifted us with. But we are also human, and we have limitations. We are other than God. We are not God. And that means that we have finite resources. We have limited energy. We have limited physical ability. We have limited capacity emotionally. And to respect that is to actually honor God. And so to have that mindset is actually a sacred thing, that we are able to acknowledge our limitations and live within the boundaries that God has given to us individually and collectively as people. And um, so having that mindset coming into this topic is a really helpful way of understanding the situation. And so typically what happens is we will be approached by someone who asks for our help. And that in itself is not, a bad thing. And our desire to help is a good thing. What happens is when we are forced to give beyond either what we are responsible for, what we are capable of, or what we have the ability to handle given everything else. And I love a speaker I heard at a conference, this was decades ago, was telling a story about Jesus. And when Jesus came to earth, he had come to do his Father's will. And so many people had other ideas of who the Messiah was supposed to be. People thought he was supposed to restore Israel back to authority, or he was going to be leading a rebellion, or he was going to be doing something that wasn't what was God's intention. And the speaker said Jesus had come to do his Father's will and nothing else. And that's where we are too. We are here to do the will of God, the will of our Father. And when we get outside of that, we are operating in a dangerous zone. We are not honoring God, and we're not honoring ourselves, and we're honestly not honoring the person that asked. Perhaps there's someone else that needs to be doing that role or that task. And so that is the first mindset we need to get into. We also need to understand that this is a really vulnerable place to be when we're honest with ourselves about being aware of our resources, our capabilities, and our calling, and allowing others to know what those are. It's very vulnerable because people can reject that and can say and do hurtful things, and it can be really scary and frightening, especially with relationships that we care about. But the way to say no in these situations is to have the correct mindset. I'm a finite being. I'm made in God's image, yes, but I'm here to do the Father's will and nothing else. And when the person comes, so let me back up just a minute. Something that's really important to remember too is we're going to be really bad at this in the beginning. So what I advise my clients to do is to buy some time to be able to check in with yourself. So when somebody comes and asks you, hey, would you be able to do this for me? The first thing you should do is say, hey, thanks for thinking of me. I need to check my schedule and get back with you. Or I need to ask my spouse and get back to you. Or I need to check in with myself. Or I need to check in with God and get back to you. And it gives us some space to breathe instead of having that knee-jerk response of saying yes and regretting it later. So how to say no is to have the proper mindset. And then the first thing we need to do when we're approached is to buy some time so that we can get out of the trigger that just happened and be able to say, hey, thanks for thinking of me. Let me get back to you. And you can give it a time. Like, let me get back to you this afternoon. I'll get back to you by tomorrow. So you don't leave them hanging, and they hear that you've acknowledged them and that you're considering their request. And yes, then you sit with God and ask, Lord, what do you want me to do? And here's another scary place to be. You are going to have to recognize that if this is the first time that you have said no to someone, they may not like it, they're not used to it, and they could respond or react poorly or in a way that isn't really helpful. But if you ask somebody for help to for anything really, and they say, actually, you know what, I am so swamped this week. I wish I could, but maybe if you ask me again next week, I could help you. And you'd be like, oh, I get it. That's totally fine. I understand. I get it. I'm there too. Uh, so yourself what it sounds like to have a response that is helpful and honoring. But be prepared. That's not what you may hear, especially when it's new and somebody has never heard no from you. And that's okay. You want to stay in the center of God's will. And even if they respond poorly, you know that um, everything is going to be okay because you are following God and He is active in the situation. Now, if you feel threatened or if there's harm, that's a completely different video that we could have. And again, if you want to address that in a later video, please let me know in the comments. But for most people, it's not the end of the world kind of thing. It's not, you don't feel like your life is in danger. You don't feel like you're in physical harm. But if you are, then that's a different situation, a different scenario. But in most cases, people might get angry. People might not understand. People might say their feelings are hurt. There might be emotional blackmail that comes along with it. And again, that is not a reflection on you. That is a reflection on the person and work that the person needs to do. And so being able to stay true to your boundaries, stay true to God's calling in your life is a very healthy thing and could actually start a ripple effect in the lives of the people around you, where they might be surprised, they might be shocked, they might feel uncomfortable at first, but they might be like, oh, she actually is living into her beliefs and values and not being swayed by the expectations of others or the culture. So yeah, if there are other things that you want me to talk about in these chats, I would love to know. And until next time, how am I going to end this? And until next time, be present, be loved, and reimagine life.